understand that it was technical officer's view that the bid from Landmark Liska was not complete and that the bid was deemed to be non-responsive?
I wouldn't put it in those terms, no. I understood they had some challenges that they were still working to resolve,
Yes.
and I'll leave it at that.
But this was their written evaluation. In the written evaluation, they seem to be saying that the bid is in effect incomplete and non-responsive.
I've stated where I stand on it.
Okay, fair enough. I recall that the day before the meeting of the cabinet on the 23rd of October, so 23rd of October, the minister and I discussed his wish for LLC to be awarded the contract. He indicated that the recommendation for Apex, as it was written, could not proceed. Is that right, that you indicated to Permanent Secretary Binns that it was your wish that LLC should be awarded the contract and not Apex?
I think before I respond to that, I should put it in the context of something that's missing in this conversation, if you don't mind.
Certainly.
Conversation that, what should be brought into the conversation is part of, I guess, what was the basis of decision-making process. As you know, the Progressive Labour Party won the government after a long years in the opposition and not having the government change. When we came into government, part of the mandate of many of the different objectives that we had was to try and give opportunity where there hadn't been opportunity before. And looking at that, we looked at how could we give the chance for smaller persons, businesses, etc., to be able to grow part in the incidents where they prepared themselves to accept an opportunity.
Your view was that both companies could do the project.
Correct.
And your view was that they were evenly balanced.
Based on what it shared with me.
Yes. But this was at odds with the recommendation made by the Permanent Secretary Binns and the technical officers.
We had disagreements.
Yes. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But that's that. Oh, we had disagreements over many different things that came up in the ministry.
We asked him the specific direct question as to whether you ever shared your own assessment as to why the contract should be given to Landmark Liska, and he was clear in his evidence that no, you did not.
Well, we have a stern, strong disagreement on that. That's all about that.
I advised the minister that if he did not recommend Apex, he could be challenged as to why he recommended the riskier of the two bids. I further advised him that the allegation might then be made that he had an interest in seeing the riskier bid awarded the contract. I reminded the minister that the entire file would be available to the Auditor General, who might legitimately ask these questions, and he must therefore be prepared to answer them. Do you recall such a discussion?
The discussion never took place.
Never took place.
Never took place. I have never been questioned about my interest in this project at any level.
No.
At any level. No. You implied that I might have had an interest.
No. Please, it's very important, Ms. Lister, you understand what's being said. This is your permanent secretary, who's your advisor, and he says that he advised you that if you did not recommend Apex, you could be challenged as to why you are recommending the riskier of the two bids. And more importantly, he says he also advised you that the allegations might be made, not that he was making them, that the allegations might be made that you had an interest in seeing the riskier bid awarded the contract. And he was telling you that it's a risky proposition because the entire file would be available to the Auditor General, who might legitimately ask these questions, and then you must be prepared to answer them. He's just giving you a health warning that if you do that, these are the issues which will be presented to you.
Nowhere and no time can I recall ever being, I'm looking for the right word, caution,
Yes.
that it could imply that I had an interest in this project. That was never put to me at any time. Never was I informed or advised of this piece of the Auditor General.
Yes.
That conversation, I do not recall. I can clearly state that my interest was never put a question in regard to any concern that was
Yes.
If at any time I was being cautioned about the implication that someone may read into this, that Dennis Lister had an interest in this, that would stay with me. I would have remembered that.
Okay.
But I don't and never did. So I don't remember this conversation.
You decided that you did not want the contract award recommendation made by the technical officers to be presented to the cabinet, but you would instead present a cabinet paper. Yes?
I can't remember.
The documentation which exists, which has been provided to you, consisting of communication within the department, consisting of memoranda being presented to the cabinet, consisting of minutes of the meetings of the cabinet, there is no suggestion in that material, in that documentation, that the decision to award a contract to Landmark Lister is due to the fact that it is the government's policy to advance small disadvantaged companies.
It may not be in the writing of the cabinet paper, I accept that. To acknowledge that it's no memo or anything of that nature in any paperwork. Let me explain something. The PS sector is my right hand person. We discussed constantly, daily, different issues that came to the ministry. I did not create a paper trail of those conversations, as seems to be what the minister has done by detailing all of what he's put back. The PS has detailed back. I, as a minister, had no reason to paper trail every and each conversation that I had with the PS, because I work with the PS in trust and confidence.